How's it going, everyone? This is K Collections. You think people only care about SRs and SSR servants? Well, guess again. Okada Izo is one of the most anticipated servants in FGO ever, to the point where players got pissed off for getting Oki to alter instead of him. He's one of the 4 legendary Hitokiris of the Bakumatsu era. Izo is sadly a limited servant, so get those Saint Quartz ready. I'll go over his stats, skills, give some CE and team recommendations to see if you should summon this awesome looking manslayer. Starting with his stats, Izo has the 3rd highest attack stat out of the 3-star assassins. Keep in mind though, that's out of 6 total servants, so it's not as high as it sounds. HP stats is the 4th highest. His MP gains are good, coming at around 33% charge with an Arts Quick Arts Brave. Being an assassin, he has excellent star gen, creating about 22 to 25 stars with the Buster Quick. Izo is a humanoid killer, more specifically a servant killer. He truly lives up to his reputation as a manslayer, which, funny enough, is the name of his first skill. You'll most likely use this skill on servants since most if not all are humanoids, but there are plenty of grunt enemies that fall within this category, making his skill quite versatile. Save this skill for his crit brave chains or NP attack, or ideally both. This is a burst skill, having a wait time of 4 turns, so you want to properly set up for Izo before attacking, especially within a team where you have less control over the command cards. Second skill is for survivability, but using it as an offensive crit boost isn't a bad idea as long as you can provide an alternative method to help him live through NP attacks. Third skill is a simple star gathering skill, which will give Izo a total of 582 star weight for 1 turn, which is more than double the weight of riders. The skill is considered a burst ability, since even with a 2-turn downtime, which is great by the way, it still takes away any momentum he has until the ability can be used again. Max his manslayer skill first for those high damage, then I would recommend his second skill if you want to further increase his crit damage, since his star gathering skill even at level 1 will grant him a total of 388 star weight. Still really high. Now that's one option if your star gathering isn't going to be an issue for you. If star gathering may be an issue for Izo, then I would personally recommend maxing his 3rd skill after manslayer, because even though it's very simple, you want to reduce the cooldown. A 3-turn cooldown isn't something to ignore. His Noble Phantasm is a single target that increases his star gen before the attack. May look very underwhelming given his arts playstyle, which is considered the worst way to generate stars, but with this buff, by performing an Arts Brave, Izo can produce a little over 20 stars, which is quite impressive. With that attack chain, not only can he create stars, but also charge about 37% NP without any buffs or crits. The goal is to spam his NP, because the more he does, the more stars he can generate, which leads to faster NP charging, for spamming of course, and more consistent crit damage. Izo is an arts crit servant, so give him CEs that increases arts with crit damage like another ending, or some form of star gen effect, whether it be passively like Chocolatier or through attacks. Heated Sands is also a good option if you want him to be more consistent with absorbing stars. Yes, he has a star gathering skill, so this is great if that skill isn't maxed out, but even if it is, it's still a 2-turn downtime. This is a good option if you want him to be your main crit DPS, yet also have other servants with similar star weight. Fortress of the Sun should be max limit broken since it was free, and Good 2 is still ongoing. A 20% in crit damage and star gen just enhances his crit performance overall, and you have a nice 40% starting NP for faster momentum. Finally, the best way to improve his overall performance is to give him a CE that boosts his arts and quick, more stars, and more NP gains. Tranquility is for NP spamming, or Merry Sheep is for more crit focus. Tamamo is an obvious companion choice for him, although you'll mainly face riders with Izo, so class disadvantage is an issue for her. He's meant for boss battles too, which is typically a longer fight, so not exactly tipping in Tamamo's favor. But if you put them together, her low star weights won't interfere too much with Izo's absorption, her obvious arts boost will help a lot, and her ability to reduce skill cooldowns while charging NP allows Izo to effectively deal that high humanoid damage more often. Sherlock Holmes is an obvious team member for Izo. The crit damage boost, ignore invincibility, and defense makes Izo's damage quite high and also unaffected by enemies' buff. Only thing that can reduce damage are debuffs. Izo himself can generate stars for your team, and you can always alternate between the two for dealing crit damage, since both him and Sherlock Holmes have a star gathering skill, although I would still recommend a 20-30 on Sherlock. Caster Gilgamesh is a phenomenal ally, although like Tamamo, you'll run into class disadvantage when facing riders, but Gil basically increases everything Izo needs: attack, arts, defense, most importantly star gen. When adding Izo's own star gen buff, the manslayer is going to generate a shit ton of stars. Mozart is an excellent and underappreciated servant. He can give instant stars for Izo to crits guaranteed, because if you max out Mozart's skill, it's 50 stars, and he can boost arts performance. Salieri can act as a semi-arts crit supporter thanks to his defense and arts down, plus he has a passive star creation skill. He also has low star weights. Basically, Izo can work with any arts crit servant, but it's best to have him as the main DPS servant because he doesn't provide any form of support for the others besides generating stars through attack. One of the best supporters is Nero Bride because she can increase his NP gains for that Noble Phantasm spamming and increases attack and star generation. My final thoughts on Okada Izo: he's an arts crit humanoid killer. Mainly you'll use him against servants, but if there's any high HP grunt humanoids like a pirate or Amazon or whoever, Izo will do the trick. He's an excellent star generator capable of providing for himself or the team. His cooldowns are short, but the one-turn buffs make him more so a burst damage dealer, having to wait 4 turns for his manslayer skill and 2 turns for his star gathering. He also has a survivability tool for emergencies, which increases his crits for 3 turns, so it's not a waste even if you save it exclusively for survivability. Izo's role is to spam his Noble Phantasm, not only to deal damage, which is important of course, but to increase his star gen. As stated before, an NP Arts Brave will give about 20 stars, which is great, and this doesn't include stacking the buff either. Now, due to the lack of any arts or NP gain buffs, his only method to spam his NP is through crits. Without it, his gains are average, which takes away a lot of momentum. His only buff for NP damage is that manslayer skill. Without that, his damage is quite low, making him almost exclusively meant for fighting humanoid bosses, which there's plenty of, so not necessarily a weakness, but something to be aware of. What cripples him the most is being limited. Not everyone is going to have him at NP 5. Hell, it took over 90 goddamn freaking Saint Quartz for me to get one damn copy of Hassan of Serenity. He may be a 3-star, and you may think it's a lot easier to get him, which is true. If you don't have a lot of Saint Quartz, getting NP 5 may be a challenge. What makes Izo so great would be his NP 5 humanoid damage being comparable to some top SSRs at NP 1, even surpassing some as well. That may not sound impressive, but for a 3-star, it's quite the feat. He's certainly not the only non-GOAT to do so, but if he weren't limited, it'll give free-to-play players a solid boss killer. Sadly, he is limited, but his crit damage is still impressive, especially with the right buffs. Now, I would only recommend you pulling for him if you are dedicated enough to get him to at least NP 3. That should be the bare minimum. At NP 3, it'll pass some SRs and match some SSRs at NP 1, even surpassing some in damage as well. If you're not dedicated, then maybe throw a few tickets or a few Saint Quartz. He is limited and easier to get, so having at least one copy for collection's sake isn't a bad idea. And even at NP 1, Izo's humanoid NP damage is still pretty decent, but it's not worth wasting a whole lot of Saint Quartz, again, if you're not dedicated enough to get him to at least NP 3. Especially when you have like Kojiro or Jinkei, whose NP 5 damage is higher than Izo's NP 1. So like I said, if you're not dedicated in having him at high NP levels, then save your Saint Quartz, maybe throw in a ticket or two just for the hell of it, just for fun, because you never know, he may pop up. It's sort of those go all in or don't kind of thing. You should summon him if you are committed, because he's an amazing servant, but if you're not committed, then the single target assassins you already have should be enough, especially if you have Shiki. So, are you going to summon exclusively for Okada Izo? I'm going for Okita Altar, but I'm trying to get at the very least NP3 Izo. And again, even if you don't need him or you're not as committed, throw a few tickets. He's limited, making him rare. And he's an insanely popular character to the point where a Nendoroid of him is being made. A tremendous thanks to all my patrons for supporting me. If you want to support my channel, check out my Patreon or channel membership. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more Fates content. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and join my Discord server. All links are in the description. Have an awesome day, everyone. Till next time.